2. All right, it is officially the offseason, 6 weeks off, but me and the big man are so committed that I am potting from vacation, and Mitch has a golf tournament tomorrow. Normally, he would get a good night's sleep and really focus, but tonight he's going to push through. Let's have a podcast. 3, 2. What up, everybody? It's JP Finley. It's Beltway Football. Brought to you by Oarsman Automotive of Virginia. We ride with them. Want you to do the same thing. The big man is here. Hello, Mitchell.
How you doing, bud? That's an elite-looking vacation you got going there. Where are you at?
Corolla, North Carolina, Outer Banks. You know who used to come here? You know whose favorite spot this was?
I do not know. Who was it?
Rich Tandler. I think you're freezing.
Yeah.
You back?
I'm back. I'm here.
All right. We'll persevere. Yeah, man. Down here with the in-laws for the week. I'm actually coming back Thursday night. Don't tell anybody. Kids aren't thrilled. Lauren's riding home with her mom and dad. We have what are you doing Friday? We're doing the radio show from Norbeck Country Club for Locker Family Foundation golf tournament.
Friday, I believe I am around. I might come join you guys out there.
I mean, they're going to be playing. We're just doing the show there, but just want to support Locker and our guy, Patrick Ellis, our guys over at Norbeck. So I may or may not be double deckering right now for whoever that means anything to. I also have a cocktail because I'm on vacation and I don't care who knows it.
I have one as well. I'm not quite on vacation yet, but excited for what's coming up in the next couple weeks.
It is an elite t-shirt, but I assume there's a punchline below. I'm not lazy. What else you got there?
It's either Timon or Pumbaa. It says, "I'm not lazy. I'm just saving energy."
I believe that's Pumbaa.
Yeah. Is Timon the little guy?
I think so.
All right. There you go.
Don't quote me.
I figured your kids are a lot closer to Lion King age than
bro, we've watched it, but it's crazy how like old and like kind of dark old Disney movies are. It's very different. But Lion King's still elite. I'm not besmirching the great Lion King name. So what are we gonna run? Assistant coach interviews?
Yeah. So JP has 2 assistant coach interviews. You know who you have? I don't have it off the top of my head.
I believe I have 3. I think I have Bobby Johnson, DB's coach, Italian name, Donatelli, and Brian Johnson. I got 2 Johnsons, Mitch. I got 2 Johnsons and 1 DB coach.
That's awesome. I have a couple as well. I have Tavita Pritchard and Bobby Ingram are the 2 that and I guess I have Ken Norton Jr. as well. So we'll run a little bit from all 3 of those guys.
No, why don't we run full? Let's go quarterbacks today. Let's run full Brian Johnson and Tavita Pritchard, and then we'll divide them up.
Perfect. My Tavita, I don't know exactly how long it is, but I think I've got like good 10 minutes with him. So
yeah, dude, I think I went 5-10 minutes with BJ. So cool. Dude, everybody cares about the quarterback. We'll give him the quarterback first in this wasteland of vacation and NFL break.
Give it to the quarterback that he gave us news this week.
Yeah. Go ahead and explain, because that's why we're here.
Yeah. So I think everyone's probably seen the clip or at least heard it by now. Brandon Aiyuk was on I think an Instagram live with Jaden Daniels and essentially said the 49ers don't want me anymore. And that sent Commanderland into a frenzy about Brandon Aiyuk coming to Washington. Aiyuk and Jaden played at Arizona State together. They remain good friends. They've talked about, how Brandon Aiyuk and Adam Peters had talked about Jaden Daniels while he was still in college. And, the 2 of them, I think Jaden said they still talk just about every day. So they're very tight. And certainly if friendships mean anything, it would maybe indicate something about Aiyuk coming to Washington.
I mean, there's a lot of friends in the NFL. A lot of people are friends with a lot of people around the league. I think the Aiyuk thing is, I think there's like a number of layers to this, right? I think the Aiyuk thing is all about money.
Yeah.
It's like most things in life, it's about cash. And the Niners have a very strong reputation of taking care of their own. And Ayuk's gone over 1,000, I think 3 straight seasons. He's a huge weapon for them. And as good as Debo is, he's not like a traditional receiver. So you do kind of need somebody opposite him. Um, I I'm not ruling any of this out, but like Adam Peters knows Ayuk. Adam Peters knows the Niners situation. Adam Peters is obviously tight with Kyle and John Lynch. Like, to me, if this was going to happen, I think it would have happened at the draft. And I think things now are contractual posturing because everybody wants the most possible money. I'm not ruling it out. Maybe. I just, a friendship's not going to drive this thing, I don't think. Like,
No.
I just, and I think if Peters wanted to get it done, I kind of think it would have happened at the draft. And I think Peters, consider they only have like 7 or 8 guys under contract next year with guaranteed money. I think he wants to keep a lot. I mean, how many times did he say the word optionality in the post draft? Like, to trade for Ayuk, you have to commit. What are these top wideouts getting? 35,
Yeah,
40?
so that was the point I was going to make was Justin Jefferson just re-signed for 35 a year, 140 total. AJ Brown just re-signed for 32 a year. Amon-Ra St. Brown 30, Tyreek Hill 30, Jalen Waddle 28 in the quarter, Devontae Adams 28 mil. I mean, and to me that's what makes this prohibitive because Terry McLaurin is coming up on a potential out after this season. He only has about 17 million in dead cap money, and they are going to have to re-sign. They're going to have to re-sign Terry, assuming that they want to. And if you go and give Ayuk, even if he's in the middle of the top receiver,
Terry has no guaranteed money next
year. Is it next year that starts? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to give Ayuk probably 28 mil ish, if you're talking about him relative to the other receivers, then you also have to re-sign Terry. And if you go make a trade for Ayuk and pay Ayuk, you're almost telling Terry that, hey, we don't have the money. And I would hope that Commanders fans saw / have seen a little bit about, what they did at defensive tackle with John Allen and Daron Payne, how much money that eats up when you have 2 players that you're paying at the top of their position. It makes it tough to build out a rest of a roster when guys are making that much money.
I don't think that. I think the model is kind of flipping where teams have like Dolphins, Eagles, like teams can pay 2 elite wideouts because they're so important. But I just don't know that Washington's, they might do it. I'm not ruling it out. Like maybe it happens. It doesn't seem likely to me. I feel like the draft would have been the window for it. You can get to a place where you pay 2 wideouts. Like they're so far under the cap. All those things. Like the best teams have studs all over the place, but the receiver position, the proliferation of 7-on-7 across the country, like receivers just keep coming out, dude. And Ayuk's really good. I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it might not happen. But the flip side of that is because I've heard this from enough people where it's like, oh, they don't really need to trade for him. They're so good at wideout. That I don't agree with. Like one, Ayuk's a stud, and you always add studs. Like if you look at like the Rams when they won their ring, like a lot of teams have gone into acquire, and figure it out. But I think the people that think the team is already set at wideout because they have Terry, Jahan, and Luke, I think is so bullish. Terry's established himself. I love Jahan. I think he's going to have a really good year. I think last year everything was so damn broken. But he also had some bad drops. So like I think Jahan's got to prove it. I like Luke, but I'm not entirely sure what they've got there. I'm not sure they're entirely sure. I think the depth really struggles. I kind of thought they would add a veteran big-bodied guy that they didn't. I don't mind it for the position, but it just doesn't seem likely because I don't know, like the question for this year, what this year really matters about, and I know right now is like a very optimistic time, but like they got to see what they got in Jaden. And until they know what they got in Jaden, like if Jaden balls out, like you look at Houston, to me, Houston's a perfect example. Like they saw, oh man, Stroud is an absolute stud, and then they trade for Diggs. Like next year, if something happens, hell yeah, get him more. Add, build this thing out. But I think you got to answer that question first. And if you trade for him, whatever the comp is, probably giving up a first.
I mean, I'm not paying a guy and giving up a first for him, but that's
Dude, the guy's last season went for 1,307, and the year before had 8 touchdowns on 1,000 yards, just 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
And the Niners said they weren't blown away at the draft, which is why they didn't deal him then. So clearly, they're okay holding on to him unless they get the offer that they want. But to your point, I don't want to pay 2 wide receivers before I know that I have a quarterback. And I'm bullish on Jaden. I think he's going to be really good, but you got to see it. And if Jaden hits and you're this far under the cap, there's going to be another Brandon Aiyuk available next offseason when you're in a real position to build off of what your rookie quarterback has done. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I love Brandon Aiyuk as a player, as a receiver. I think he's really good. I don't want to trade for him and have to pay him and then box yourself into essentially having to have a quarterback on a rookie deal because you have so much money tied up at receiver. But I mostly agree with what you're saying.
Well, and dude, I don't know how different he is than Terry. I mean, Ayuk's listed 6 foot 200. What's Terry listed at? Probably fairly similar. Yeah. And like normally you want different, like for the Eagles to pay Smith and Brown, they're very different players. They're both really good, but they're different players. And then, I mean, even the Dolphins to pay Waddle and Tyreek's a freaking unicorn, but like, I get the excitement, and I get that Aiyuk and Jaden have this relationship and they do the Instagram lives, whatever it is. I just think it's contract stuff. And the Niners are in no hurry. They have a 5th-year option. Like the Niners aren't stressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And dude, didn't T. Higgins just got a 1-year deal with the Bengals? Like, you don't. What's going to happen with CeeDee Lamb? Like, you don't have to be desperate. If you want to find out what you have at your quarterback position, to your point, and you want to maybe add another stud receivers kind of become available. Steph Diggs is on his 3rd team.
Yeah, and also to the 49ers point, they're in their window to win a Super Bowl, right? Like they're trying to win a Super Bowl. They're not in the business of trading away good talent for a 5th rounder or something like that. Like if they want to get rid of Aiyuk, it's going to take something worthwhile for them because they can go into this season and have Aiyuk play it. They have the 5th-year option. They can also just be done with him at the end of the year if they decide that's what they want to do with him. Like the 49ers have the optionality that Adam Peters wants, but that's right. Because they are currently in their window to win a Super Bowl. The Commanders are not quite there yet.
And they got there by doing it the right way and building it the long haul, right? Through really good drafts.
Yeah.
And Peters is stressed, this. It doesn't seem likely to me. Now, maybe if you do a player for player, I just don't see any of that. Peters seems so committed to the draft. Scale of 1 to 10, to me, this thing's like a 4 out of 10. Like, I'm not ruling it out. That gives it a 40%. Maybe it's a 3 out of 10 when I put the percentages in. But, like, it doesn't seem likely. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I don't see it.
I think if you're going 3 out of 10, I'll go 5 out of 10. Only in that it's interesting. And
I started at 4 for the round.
Yeah, you did, but then you went down to 3.
3.5.
3.5. All right, fine. I'll go 4.5 then. I think it's interesting. I just don't know that I think it actually ends up happening in real life.
What scares me at a 4.5 though is you're saying it's almost a coin flip. I think it's a little less than a coin flip.
Oh, coin flip I'm saying it's a 4.5 in the interest level, in the probability that it happens.
I'm saying probability, not interest level. Oh. Interest level, he's a stud player. The interest should be 10 out of 10. But the feasibility, the actually getting it done, I'm saying 3.5.
Then I'm less than you. I'm a 2.5 to a 3. I think the fact that if you sign him, I don't like giving up comp and having to sign him to a long-term deal, and then also having having him and Terry both essentially at the same time negotiating for new deals is super tough for the management team as they try and figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. So you're lower than me on actually happening, and I think lower than me on interest level too. Interest,
Yeah.
he's a stud. You should be
Oh,
super. Yo, if a smoke show girl walks by you, you should look. You know what I mean? But
you don't have to tell me that twice.
I probably
Brandon
shouldn't say
Necker
that
to it, my
once.
day.
I shouldn't say that once. All right. I think we're in the same ballpark here. It's an exciting thing to talk about, especially on June 17th at 8:19 p.m. for timestamp guy. I just think it's something to talk about. I don't know that it's happening.
Totally agree. I think we're in the same boat here.
All right. We got Tavita Pritchard and Brian Johnson. I did want to see this and tell me what you think, Mitch. Commanders posted job openings.
Yes, I saw it.
For 3 positions: football solutions developer, football solutions data engineer, and football data scientist. I don't think I'm equipped for any of those jobs, frankly.
No, they're all numbers jobs.
Sounds very mathy and computery. But they're clearly building out this analytics side. Like,
you talk about it all the time. Josh Harris said he wants to spend on the fringes. This is exactly what that is. The Caps just bought the capfriendly.com websites for their analytics department. The Commanders are working on the same thing, trying to build out their analytics department and get some heady, nerdy, mathy, computery type guys in there. And,
why they gotta be nerds, dude?
Listen, if you're really good at math, there's a good chance that you work in that direction.
My wife's really good at math. She actually says she's kind of a nerd, so I don't know. Don't tell her I said any of that.
There you go. I mean, I wouldn't say that about her, but if you do, then so be it.
I am not, for the record. All right, let's go. You want BJ or Tavita first?
Let's go Brian Johnson first, and then we'll end with Tavita Pritchard.
Sayonara.